Today is Saturday, May 21st, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 42, Week 11.
Week 11, just before the finale. It's time to check in with the superfans, see what they thought about the penultimate episode, the one just before the finale, how they analyzed it, and what, most importantly, their predictions are to help me do really well in JSFL with my picks. Mm-hmm. I'm excited that, how many is it?
18.
18 superfans showed up to help me. Isn't that cool? It's
yes,
outstanding
always.
Support in the Survivor community. No.
Well, I told you last night, what mine was. And then we immediately, whatever we were watching, we paused.
Yes.
Didn't get back to forever.
Nope.
I said, okay. Just
Did
before
we finish it?
hear anything, yeah, we finished.
Okay.
Before we hear anything, we get any feedback, I want to tell you what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
And so I told you what my order would be if I put it in right then.
Yes.
And then we started to pick it apart. And I'd say, oh, but this and that and that, but I'm still debating if this one goes out or if that's going to happen or
right.
Which one's going to win.
Who's out 5? Who's out 4?
Yeah.
How does that play in the end?
Well, I think Jonathan's out 5th regardless.
Yeah.
Unless Mike wins, maybe not.
I'm looking forward to seeing what all these superfans thought because it can reframe our approach to our picks and the lenses that we choose to view the finale with. So it can dramatically affect your excitement, your contentment with the result.
Well, even the discussion you and I had me all over the place again. So, But yes. I wanted to get that thought out there for at least
But there's only 5
to hear.
left. How complicated could it be?
Yeah, exactly. Very.
Are there that many factors to consider?
Yes, there are.
Well, I say we dig in. Is there anything we need to cover before we start?
I don't believe so.
Let's check in with Pete and see what he thought and what he's thinking.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, my goodness. What a spectacular doozy-woozy episode. Man, the Drea one, which I thought was nuts last week. This episode, maybe not quite as crazy, but nevertheless, it was another nutty episode, and I did not expect my man Omar, someone I thought was going to win, to get blindsided like that. So let me let out a great big woo! And bomb! Oh, what an episode. I'm so ecstatic now. But man, though, so I think Omar, I got to read his interviews, guys. I think he's going to regret that giving the idol back to Mike. Clearly, he was overconfident with that. And obviously, Lindsay, as we saw at the end there, based on the edit, had no clue that Marianne was going to make that move, or else I know she would have given her idol because she had immunity to Omar. Wow, with him gone, honestly, guys, it's going to sound crazy. If you were to tell me on day one, based on the cast assessment, and Marianne would have a chance, I'd say you're out of your mind. Mm-hmm. Right now, guys, I'm curious to see what people think. I think Marianne's the pick right now. She's improved her game immensely. She's working good alliances, shifting the game. She still has an idol, remember, that she could use at Final 5, and I don't think anyone knows about it. And by the way, her extra vote, finally we see the extra vote pay off, and that was the difference with her 2 votes in Romeo saying bye-bye Omer there. Wow. wow. But then again now, she might be seen as a threat, but I think what's going to happen, guys, final five, unless she wins immunity again, by she, I'm talking about Lindsay, I think she's gone now, final five, and I was starting to like Lindsay, but now she got no alliance she's close to. Now when it gets to fire-making, guys, it's easy. Romeo, no doubt, whoever wins immunity is going to say, Romeo, you're going to come with me to the final three. You know what I'm hoping is? I'd love to see Jonathan and Mike go toe-to-toe to make fire. That would be nuts, because I don't know how good Marianne will do making fire. Oh, she's made fire during the season, but we'll see. It comes down to that final four immunity. But right now, I think Marianne and Mike have the best chance. Jonathan may get some votes, but he hasn't done much from a strategy point of view. Romeo, zero. And Lindsay, I think, will just be voted out final five, unless she wins immunity. And I don't think the jury looks bitter, guys. Omar was shocked, but it looks like it's going to be a good jury. Maybe besides Chanel. She might be bitter. Although I think Chanel would vote for Marianne in the end. This should be an awesome finale, guys. I can't wait. I love this season. Even better than last season. Take care. Woo!
Thanks, Pete. It seems like it is lining up similar to last season to be a surprise because the big players are gone. I don't want to take too much away from Mike and the accomplishment that Jonathan has simply being here at Final Five, given everything he's represented in the game, the phenomenal game that Lindsay's played, and the sleeper under the radar, you do the best you can with what you have, kind of games that Romeo and Marianne were able to manage there. But the big dogs are already out of the hunt.
Okay.
And so we're kind of in for a surprise.
We found out in the interviews that...
Hold on.
Does somebody talk about that?
Yes, Robert's coming up with it.
Oh, okay.
If you're talking about something
Thank you for stopping me.
Omar had.
Yes,
We'll talk. Let's talk about it after Robert gets into it.
Well, I don't hear the audio, so I didn't know if somebody was going to talk
Yep.
about it. Okay, let's listen to Robert then.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. I really hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and I thought it was definitely a winner despite the fact that the vote didn't go how I'd hoped. Given Omar's departure, it was nice to see him get a reward win. I kind of laughed when he picked Romeo to come along saying that he needs to eat. I thought, wait a minute, isn't Romeo eating all of your guys' food scraps? But it certainly looked like he needed food, so that was probably a good idea. In the immunity challenge, I was rooting for Lindsay to win since I had Jonathan as my vote off. It was a really exciting finish, and it's become clear that as long as it doesn't involve puzzles, Jonathan's always going to either be number one or number two, so it'll be interesting seeing what happens this week. I was confused at Lindsay and Omar's collective decision to hold back on playing the idol. Even by the logic they could go back in the game, if both of them had stuck around, they'd have a 40% chance of finding it. I guess I'm mostly bitter because I lost the save point and didn't get my vote off point for Jonathan. I listened to Omar's exit interview with Rob Sessionino. It sounds like there's a bit more to that story, including that Omar had actually found like an idol nullifier, but it never came into play. Next week it's the finale. It really came up super quick. It's bittersweet thinking that this is the last time we can make predictions for the season, so without further ado, here are some of my predictions. I think Lindsay makes it to the finale, and if Jonathan loses the first immunity challenge, he's out. Otherwise, he'll have to win the next one or make fire. I think Romeo's heads to finale, so it'll be Lindsay, Romeo, and someone else, and the last seed, whoever wins the fire challenge. I have a feeling it's going to be Marianne and Mike, and he has better odds at making fire, so my final three would be Lindsay, Romeo, and Mike. It all kind of depends on which challenge Jonathan wins and if he wins one. I think if Marianne gets the finale, I also think that she'll be the winner. So I look forward to hearing what all the other fans have for predictions, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
Excellent. Thanks, Robert. So let's add one additional thing to what Robert just said. Final five ends with a puzzle. So make what you will of that with regards to Jonathan's potential
abilities for puzzles. I expect him to blow through the physical part of it.
Yes.
But he's not good with puzzles. He just isn't.
Yes.
Or he hasn't been with the other puzzles.
Yes. That has been reinforced time and time again from the first episode all the way through. That's
why I think
Robert's onto something.
Even though Lindsay's kind of on the outs and you would think she would go next and all that, I think Marianne and Romeo and Lindsay would all agree, I don't know about Mike, that, oh no, we don't want to take Jonathan. You know, he'll beat us in any other challenge if there's no puzzle.
And he takes the decision away from us if he does
exactly. and we won't have any say. So we'll compete with each other, but let's remove that factor. And so that's why I thought, I don't think he's going to win this immunity. And anyway, that was my thinking. The thing I wanted to highlight with Omar having the idol nullifier from day 8, he and Jonathan found it.
Yes. Remember?
Day 8.
You might recall when Jonathan desperately needed to get out of camp away from the incessant gabbing that Marianne and Lindsay were doing. And so he said that he and Omar and Jonathan wandered away towards the well, and there it was. It was just laying there at the well, and Omar scrambled over first and grabbed it, so it was his. So he's been sitting on an idol nullifier, and he and Jonathan had kept it a secret. From that far back, from episode 4.
But here was his plan, he said. He planned all along. He knew Mike had an idol. He planned to save the nullifier and get Mike to final 5.
At least that's what his plan was as of this last episode.
And that's why he got the idol from Mike, but so that Drea couldn't take it.
Yeah.
He wanted this
a
on
moment.
His resume.
Yes.
This was his moment. He didn't want her to steal it away from him. That's why he told Mike, kept the idol. Then he didn't mind giving it back to him because his plan was always
to yoink
it. He was going to have Mike play it and use the nullifier on him. This was his big plan all along. And he said, I lost sight of that. I couldn't see anything else.
He said, there was 2 things. That, he said he was kind of like Gollum to the ring, to his precious, with his plan, because he was working backwards from there, and he was framing everything from that perspective. And he said the other critical piece of information was that he and Jonathan had kept that secret, and Jonathan had explicitly asked him, don't tell the girls. And they didn't for a long time. And then Omar did tell Lindsay. And then Jonathan figured that out from Lindsay. And so Jonathan had turned on Omar. And Jonathan shared that with Mike. And so Mike had turned on Omar.
So that was all part of getting Omar out as well.
Yes.
I don't know why
That's
they
when
didn't
things
show
flipped
us all
on him.
that. Why wouldn't they show us that?
It could have been great, but they needed this episode to show what they judged to be the more significant pattern of Marianne's play to get him out. Although it could have been building all this time, right? We could have been anticipating this big punch, and then here she comes scrambling in just before a day before he was going to execute his plan, and knocks him flat out of the game.
He did not believe she would use it on him.
Yeah.
He didn't at all. And he said...
That's why he was survivor confident.
He said, there were signs. When I look back, there were signs. Jonathan and Mike were acting very different.
They weren't checking in with him incessantly.
Yep. Like he said, normally they do. And they didn't do it. And he said, that should have clued me in. But I was so focused on, I was going to get to use this on Mike. And he just couldn't wait.
Yep.
And he was so... as he said, survivor confident that it was going to go down the way he was planning, and he was getting so excited until he just ignored it all.
Good stuff in the interviews. There's more details there, and we'll cover maybe 1 or 2 more things, but I'll make sure to have some links in. These are probably recommended. I'd say it's worth your time to go check out the written and the video interview links with Omar.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching.
Well, he's just pleasant to hear him talk, and he's got a good sense of himself. And
he's really very soft-spoken.
Yep, and he was humble. And there's more insights there. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Bobby.
Hey, this is Bobby. I have a theory about Mike's immunity idol. I do not believe it to be real or activated, I guess. If you recall, when he found it, the instructions were very clear, saying it's a danger idol. You must follow the rules. And one of the rules was at the next tribal council, you must say this phrase out loud. Daniel advised him not to say it at the first time he went to tribal council and he took Daniel's advice and did not say it, and then said it at a later one. Therefore, not following the directions, saying he must do exactly as it says, and he must read it at the next tribal council. I believe he may be in for a surprise when he tries to play it. Your thoughts?
Bubby, I like your idea. I like how you're thinking. That's creative. But let me frame it for you, because you got one thing turned around. It was at the immunity challenge where they had to say the phrases. It wasn't at tribal council. And you left off the part that comes just before the instructions that say that. So let me read it from the top, and then we'll get down to the part you're talking about. And really where I'm going with this is context is king. So here we go. Congratulations, you have found a 3-way shared immunity idol. Each tribe beach has one. But in order for your idol to have power, the other 2 idols must also be found. Here is how you will know. That sentence is incredibly important for context. Here is how you will know. At the next immunity challenge, you must say a secret phrase in front of the other players. This is if you want to know. And This is where Daniel was very perceptive. This is like the one thing I'll really give him from this perspective. And I don't even know if the producers anticipated it. I so wish someone had asked Dre about it, but I didn't come across it, and I didn't read or watch all the interviews, but I hadn't seen anybody talk about it. So if you want to know, you've got to say the phrase. It's that presupposition that you're missing. I like the creativity, but that's why I think your idea probably isn't valid.
Well, we discussed this a lot at the time when it happened.
Yeah, maybe Bobby missed that.
That's not my point. my point was we did discuss it a lot because a lot of people felt exactly the way he did.
Well,
we did too to start with.
If you take that one statement, sure, that's exactly what it looks like. Back up one sentence. If you want to know, then it's a whole different world.
Yeah, and it is an idol. I think that's pretty clear with the others and all too. So, but even though he's not the one, he didn't read it. That wasn't the criteria.
That's our thoughts, Bobby. So make of that what you will. But I liked your creativity.
And if we're wrong, we'll find out when he plays.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time we were wrong.
Then never.
Yeah. Okay, next up, we got an email from Ed in Milwaukee. Joanne and Stacy, logically, it's easy to determine who will make the Final Four next week. Mike and Marianne have idols, and they're guaranteed to make the Final Four. Romeo's the only GOAT left in the game, therefore Mike and Marianne will work to take Romeo. This means that Jonathan and Lindsay will slug it out as to who will be the final member of the Final Four. Based on past performance, one of these two are the most likely to win the final immunity challenge. This is the logical approach, but Survivor's not logical, therefore all bets are off as to what is really going to happen. I like that. You pull the rug out from under us. I cannot predict as to who is going to take who to the final. Some other random thoughts. Lindsay has targeted Jonathan for elimination, but I think she has overestimated his threat level. Lindsay, like everyone else, is better off with Omer out of the game instead of Jonathan. Is it possible that her decision not to use her idol to save Omer was part of a master strategy to get Omer out of the game? Well, according to Omer, she didn't want to do it because it made her game more public. And she was trying to play a more quiet game. Yeah,
there was a clause in it that said this is not transferable. Mm-hmm. So she couldn't just give it to Omar. She would have had to go up herself, play it for Omar, and she didn't want to
burn those bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why she decided not to. And neither one of them were concerned at all about Omar. So.
Yes, they were. Survivor confident.
They were, yeah.
Here we go. Marianne accomplished a master feat that has not been accomplished in 2 years. She was able to keep her immunity idol a secret. But how long will this last? And will she be able to leverage her idol to give her clout as to who gets voted out? Win or lose, Jonathan has also accomplished a master feat. I cannot recall the last time that the cast strongman was able to make it to the final episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The strongman archetype is useful in the team game, but usually gets voted out near the merge. What I cannot forecast is who will be the ultimate survivor. The best Strategic players, Drea High.
Three best.
Three best, thank you. Our Drea, High, and Omar have wisely been voted out of the game. The remaining players, except Romeo, all have strengths that must be considered in voting a champ. But they also have weaknesses. It will be interesting to see who the jury chooses to vote for and why. Why are they moving to a new camp for the final episode? It's not good television to watch people who have already barely eaten in 26 days to be forced to expend their limited energy to establish a new camp or to suffer in an undeveloped shelter. Thanks, Ed. Well, as Probst, I'm sure, would be happy to tell you, it's the monster, and it's coming for them, and it never stops. And it's hungry.
You never to say that again.
Did you? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they did the same thing last season, too. You probably pushed it out of your memory because, like you said, there's really no good reason for it.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Thanks, Ed.
We agree.
Yeah. Next up, we got a call from Boother.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother calling in. Wow, that was a great episode. Marianne orchestrated the blindside vote-off of Omer. Her Little People's alliance with Romeo paid off. Just think, if Lindsay had given Omer her amulet immunity idol, then it would have been a tie between Jonathan and Romeo, and Jonathan most likely would have been voted off, and Marianne would have looked like a fool. But her risky plan paid off big time. Nobody saw this coming, and now Marianne is looking like the Kentucky Derby long shot to win this game. Omar has played an excellent game, whispering strategy first to Jonathan and then Lindsay and Mike. He laid low, played chill, and everybody liked Omar. He was a sure bet to win if he had made it to the final three. For your information, Romeo is also an entertainment news producer for the local TV station KTLA Channel 5 here in Los Angeles. The entertainment news featured Romeo last Thursday, and of course, everyone there is rooting for him to win. In fact, some called him King Romeo, which surprised me because he appears to me to be more of a follower than a leader. Well, for the finale, my final five are as follows. I see Jonathan finally losing and being voted out first. Then Mike's going to beat Lindsay in the fire challenge. Romeo will be third, Mike second, and Marianne the big winner. Well, there you have it. I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say. Bye.
Thanks, Boother. I like that extra insight on Romeo.
Yep, and therefore is my dilemma. Over the fire making. Who's gonna go?
Yes.
Who's gonna win?
Is Marianne gonna pull a Chris Underwood a la Edge of Extinction and give up her spot to be in the fire making challenge and therefore win it dramatically and score more points with the jury?
If she wins
the Final Four challenge?
The Final Four challenge?
Yes.
Yeah.
What if they did something wacky for a change and they made it a puzzle for Final Four instead of a dexterity endurance thing? Then she's game to win it.
Well,
if she's there.
Here's the thing. You have to look at, okay, if Jonathan goes out first and I'm looking at, okay, who's going to win the next one? Is it going to be Mike? And who would Mike put in the fire challenge? If it's Lindsay, who would she put in the fire challenge? And if it's Marianne, who would she put in? I should also say then Romeo, but I've already discounted Romeo, so that was kind of King Romeo was kind of scary because it's like, wait, I never considered him winning at all. In his his E.T. Canada interview, he got a good question. Omar got a good question from Erica. It's, how are you going to make your decision? And he said it's really based on how well they present their methodology for playing the game. For playing the game, yeah. It's about the game. And he said he's not closed off to any potential strategy. But I think he's going to be so biased because Marianne got him. Yeah, it's hard not to be. I really think that. Yes.
She should be rewarded because I was more of a threat than her, and she got me.
And
therefore,
she got me.
Yes, I owe her.
And I believed her.
Yes.
Totally.
Good deal. Thanks, Boother. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Chris from Minneapolis calling. Just thinking about how they're going to finish. I think Jonathan is probably going to be the main target for 5, and I think Mike, has the next best chance to win. I think he'll be 4, and then I think getting down to Lindsay and Marianne and Romeo, and I guess I would pick Lindsay, but it feels a lot like, to me, the edit is really pushing towards Marianne, which, I'd be a little disappointed, but they seem to be trying really hard to show that she's making big moves and all of that, and so, like I said, she wouldn't be my pick. I think Lindsay's been a beast in challenges. She seems to have a great social game,
True.
And Romeo just seems like the logical person to drag along. So yeah, I think that's probably would be my bet for the final 3. I will say it's just been amazing. The boot order, the last few episodes, just how all the last couple people, just the power players that have all gone down. I was shocked that Omer went away in the last tribal. I can't believe that Lindsay didn't give him the idol. I just didn't understand the reasoning of they're worried about the idol going back out into circulation. That made no sense to me. And in Omer, I think, obviously, I thought he was going to be our next winner. But can't wait for the final show of the season and look forward to hearing everybody else. Take care. Bye.
Excellent. Good job, Chris.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Chris, until I started thinking about the fire challenge. And I thought, could Mike lose that? Who could he go up against? And then I thought, well, I really don't know if any of I know Jonathan said he does the fire.
Yep.
Who else can make fire? We saw Omar make fire.
Yep, and he's
So
gone.
I've seen that, but I haven't been paying enough attention. Who else can make fire? Who have we seen?
I believe we've seen Marianne.
We've seen Marianne.
Because they were having like a fire making challenge or something to that effect.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so
have you seen Lindsay or Romeo or Mike?
Not that I recall.
Didn't Mike see in the beginning?
Certainly Romeo's been tending the fire. Yeah.
He should know how to make
You would
fire.
think. You would think.
Yeah. So it's like, that's exactly where I was. They'll take Mike out as the next biggest threat, but they can't necessarily take him out. It has to be the fire challenge. Or
Could
at least
be.
that's what it's been and what we're expecting. And so that's when it started to throw me. Okay, enough about my thoughts.
Thanks again, Chris. Up next, we got a call from Nora.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Nora. I'm going to really try hard to keep it to 2 minutes, but this was a masterclass in Graduate Survivor. Keep your head down. Hubris kills. Don't make mistakes, right? Big rule of Survivor. But if you do, walk it back. Recall Jonathan was too bossy to Marianne 3 episodes ago, but it wasn't a fatal error because he walked it back. Marianne is so intelligent that she kept her options open and didn't make that a reason to get rid of Jonathan. Lindsay is being too passionate in pleading her case about Jonathan. It's going to bite her. Rule number 2, hide your partnership from view. Mike and Marianne, both of them could win. I'll bet you it's one of them. I loved it when Mike said to Marianne, nobody's going to suspect it's you and me. Hide the relationship. Handling your pairing is graduate level Survivor. Look how far we've come from Boston Rob days, where Boston Rob would corral a group of people and tell them they cannot talk to each other until tribal. That would never happen now. I think the way Jonathan handled Lindsay was absolutely amazing. I could never have done that. The other rule seems to be never celebrate a victory. This is what has brought Omar down. He just couldn't help himself but made a little nice high status speech about his niece, and Jeff stepped in and seconded it. Well, that's just death, because it's way too high a status. That raised his status way too high. It was the kill shot. Changing your target and turning on a dime is absolutely important, I think, in winning Survivor. Marianne's speech at Tribal was the best, most intelligent piece of advice anybody ever said. Hide. Hide as long as you can till you find wiggle room to move up. Finally, the shot in the dark. ended up being a good thing. We needed this because we absolutely hated all these Mike White suggestions. Last year, Erica won due to being sent to the island and a new trick being introduced. I think there's a shadow over her win. Walk back your mistakes, and I hope Lindsay will go very low status when we see her next. She has no choice now. All 5 of these people are so likable. We just love them, and to me, this is the first time in Survivor history that I've just loved all of them. Thank you for all you do, Stacey and Joanne.
Thank you, Nora. I'm glad you're enjoying it this season. Up next, we got a call from Sophie, Caleb, and Leila.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. This is Sophie, Caleb, and Leila in Texas. Absolutely brilliant season. Probably my favorite in 10 years or more. I definitely want to watch this one again. What do you think of it, Caleb?
I really like it a lot. It's very interesting. There's a lot of late blindsides happening, which makes the game more interesting. And I also think that Jonathan should live on the beach just because he's perfect there.
He just should stay on Fiji the rest of his life?
Yeah.
Leila?
I liked it. I thought the players this year were much better than last year's players. I thought they played more strategically since last year's game. I'm surprised that they're playing so well, even though the game is still brand new to them since they haven't seen last season.
Yeah. And Marianne, she pulled it off, right? We were like, yay!
Surprisingly, I kind of wanted her to go home.
You did?
A little bit.
No, I'm glad that she got her way. I'm happy for her.
I think she's very happy and bubbly, but I think that it would annoy people very quickly, and it did.
Well, who do you think will win?
Not Marianne. I don't think she'd win. I think it'd either be down to Mike, Jonathan, or Lindsay.
You? Who do you think's going to win now?
Mike.
Okay, Mike. Mike is actually quite trying hard. Would you have chosen the chocolate cake and cookies or protein, the chicken and vegetables?
Protein.
The chocolate cake.
You would have
Protein.
Okay. And next episode's the last one. You looking forward to the maze and everything that they have to
Oh, yeah, that's
course?
my favorite challenge, yeah.
You like the last one?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's been fantastic. We've really enjoyed it as a family, and I don't know. That's it, guys. Hope you all have a great summer. We'll check in next week, hopefully, and take care. Thank you for all that you do. Oh, and I've been meaning to say, after Drew called in and said that he had a dream about Survivor, I had a dream like a few days later that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were in Survivor this season, and he was like walking around the island along the beach dressed up as obviously a pirate, and Amber Heard was just being moody and not very nice to everybody. But yeah, it's crazy how what's going on outside can come into a game that you love. Congratulations also to the baby born, another Survivor fan. Okay, guys, take care. Bye.
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 Awesome. Thanks, Sophie, Caleb, and Leila.
Yes, that was Justin's baby.
And you said Rajmi, one of Rajmi's sons, had a baby too, right?
Yes.
You saw that?
Yes, she is now a grandmama.
Right. Congratulations. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
This was quite the penultimate episode. I understand why Omar decided to give the idol back to Mike, because of the trust established there. I like the option of the reward challenge being either sweets or sustenance, and depending on what was chosen, who gets to go with the winner. Omar's decision on that was somewhat valid, I think, with Romeo, Marianne, and Mike. As for the immunity challenge these past few weeks, it has been a battle between Lindsay and Jonathan, and I can see that battle continue in the finale. Let's talk about Marianne for a bit. I didn't necessarily see her as a person who would make big moves, but her thought process of taking out Omar was a really smart one on her end. If Omar made it to the end, I could have seen him win the game. He has been playing both sides really well. I'm not sure how the other players see his gameplay.
Didn't see his gameplay.
Didn't see his. He wasn't sure. I'm not sure how the others didn't see his gameplay. I'm looking forward to the finale next week, and here's my predictions for the final 5 at this point. In 5th place, I'm thinking Jonathan. 4th, Mike. 3rd, Romeo. 2nd, Lindsay. And winner, surprisingly, Marianne. I may change this, though, depending on everyone else's feedback.
Absolutely.
Exactly was my order until I started going, and now I'm unsure again. So, at least I'm not the only one.
Thanks, Jack. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, as they say, all's fair in love, war, and Survivor. And I have to admit that even though Omar was playing a pretty good game, I think after he voted or got High voted out by lying to Mike, I just kind of lost the excitement for the game for a little bit. I don't know. There's just something about, there's a thing about lying one way, saying, well, no, I'd never vote for you, but another by actually starting to spread stories that aren't true. Of course, if Mike were a really good player, he would go and talk to High about it. But then when Drea confided in Omer and then he told Mike about her having the knowledge is power, I don't know. I just didn't feel great about it. So last week I didn't call in. I kept thinking, what do I want to say? And I just thought, well, I'm not really going to say anything anybody else would have said. So I just didn't call in. But anyway, after the last episode, it was such an emotional roller coaster that honestly, by the end of the episode, I was screaming. I was so excited that Omer got voted out and the fact that Marianne did it. A couple of weeks ago, I said that Omer isn't going to win. That's what I thought, because I thought that once the people voted out get to Ponderosa and start comparing notes, they're not going to be really pleased with the way he played them. But I didn't think that he was actually going to get voted out, and shrewdly done by Marianne. Again, it shows good gameplay because Jonathan and Mike, really, they were right. If they thought that Lindsay was going to play her idol and save Omer, then they wanted to make sure that somebody was going to go out. And so Marianne took a chance. She could have thrown those votes away on Omer and nothing would have happened. But that's what's great about Survivor. She took a risk and it worked. So what are my predictions on Final Five? Well, I think Lindsay's out. She has no allies left. I think that Mike might be out next, and that will leave Marianne, Jonathan, and Romeo. And the only thing I know for sure is that Romeo is not going to win Survivor. What I loved, Omer turning to Marianne saying, you did it, and Marianne saying, I did. Great episode. Looking forward to the finale. Bye.
Oh no, did David just jinx it and Romeo's going to win now? We missed you, David.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I think David, apparently, given what Omer said in the interview, he was onto something about there being some resentment, because Omar had one bad thing to say about one person at Ponderosa. And he said that Drea was really ugly to him there, and it was unpleasant.
Yeah, he described her as hypocritical.
Yeah, which I was surprised.
And then the interviewer asked him to explain that.
Gordon Holmes, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but she was really hurt. She trusted him completely, obviously, and told him her secret. And yeah, that's when you're hurt. That's why I'm saying people who feel hurt by the other person will carry that a lot longer and be a lot harder to let go.
Masked that really well, though, because she was so cheery and she had set a new standard for the exit. And
yeah, but then
when he got there,
wait a minute, I'm really out of the game.
He said that she was making up stuff about him in the game, making up stuff about him in the real world. It just sounded like it was a really unpleasant experience for him at Ponderosa.
Oh, I didn't hear all that.
Yeah, and even High was still dogging Omer about the lie.
Well, he should.
Omer was, in the interviews, he was trying to justify it and said, no, I never heard High say puppet, but it was unsaid. But that's what he was saying, and High was still tweeting after him. He's
I did not.
Come on now, you know. So, yeah, I think there may be some bitterness that
You're talking about he's tweeting him in current day and not...
Yes,
not
yeah. After Omer went out and High had read one of Omer's interviews. Because he tweeted his words back at him. And it's like, not so sure about you.
Know, hey, it happens.
Like David had suspected, and some of us had talked about, that there actually could be some bitterness now.
But he didn't talk like there was any animosity or bitterness. from High.
He didn't mention High at all. No, he had a really nice thing to say about High and the word association. So I think they're just teasing each other.
Yeah.
From that perspective.
But that's what I think.
But David's wondering about, could there have been bitterness? Could there be bitterness? It's always a question you want to ask when you get to the end. And someone was bitter. Now, it was with someone who's already out, but, that doesn't mean it couldn't spill over onto someone else, too.
That is true.
Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca from Northern California calling with feedback from a wonderful, extremely entertaining episode. And all I have to say is, oh, Lindsay, why did you not play your amulet for Omar? Why did you get so cocky? Why did you think your main guy was going to be safe if you didn't keep him safe? It's that survivor hubris coming back around to bite you in the butt. Obviously, Lindsay and Omar thought they were safe. It was really funny because I always look on our Facebook page on Wednesday mornings to see what everybody else thinks. Nina Bean has the best survivor comments of all time, and I really look to her every week to see where her thoughts are as I'm making my decision. And I think it was Joshua he had a comment that Lindsay is getting so cocky she's just going to throw her amulet in the fire and say, I don't even need it. And she kind of did when she said, I'm not going to play it for Omar because it could just go back in circulation. I thought two things. No, it's not. It wasn't an actual idol. It was an advantage that became an idol. So no, it's not going to go back in circulation. And now you've just lost Omar. He was my vote-out point, so I didn't really mind that he was going to go. I thought it was definitely he had played his hand a little too hard. But it's really interesting when you see people claw their way to the top and get overly confident and then just topple right off. Kudos to Marianne. Definitely the play, if not the play of the game, definitely the play of the episode. And I think she will get the respect of Mike and Jonathan, who just couldn't let go of their paranoia enough to trust her. She did that all on her own. She used her extra vote. Only Romeo was willing to listen to her, and she pulled off the move of all moves. She not only knocked Omar out of the game, she might have knocked Lindsay out of the #1 spot and might have put herself in the #1 spot. It's so hard to see where and how it's going to go in the final episode, but Lindsay might not have a chance now that she doesn't have Omar. She lost her biggest alliance. She is completely at odds with Jonathan. She looks at him as her nemesis. She wants to take him out so hard as she's losing sight of how to play with her head on straight. And from here, it's kind of anyone's game, right? Except for Romeo's. I feel like Romeo is going to be a solid third. And for the other two, I'm just not sure. It's going to be exciting to watch. I feel like Marianne has a really amazing shot at winning. She has shown the jury she can make a good move. She's well liked by everybody. She hasn't been combating like these big players have, or she's just kind of happy and sunny and constantly mugging for the camera. She definitely has a bigger edit than the winner last season, but Jonathan, Mike, Omar, Lindsay, Drea, they all had so much more screen time. So is it going to be somebody who we didn't see much of just sneaks in at the end? Anyway, thank you all so much, not only for your feedback, but also for your comments on Facebook. I really love the community. I'm going to miss it over the summer so much when it's gone. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy. I hope everyone's having a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. Another great episode. I've really enjoyed these last two because we're getting a lot of camp time, a lot of strategy sessions, and that's my favorite part about Survivor and something that I feel like has been lacking in a lot of the most recent seasons, something that I loved about the early seasons that they haven't been doing so much of. So whenever they show us people strategizing at camp, I love it. Marianne was so impressive. Tonight she pulled off the move of the season. I was so impressed. I was sad to see Omar go, but as a fan, I'm here for it. And I really would love to see her win next week. I think she's been a delight all season long. And I think she has the best read on the game. I mean, look at Lindsay. Lindsay's obsessed with getting Jonathan out, even though, I mean, from the audience perspective, nobody's going to vote to give Jonathan the win at the end anyway. So she's kind of like the Stephen Fishback, always going after Joe Anglin storyline, I think, from, not Karamoan, another C word.
Cambodia.
Anyway, and she was able to get Romeo to work with her, which impressed me too, because I keep hearing in exit interviews that the reason why they didn't want to work with Romeo after the merge is because he spilled the beans to Chanel that she was the target. And so they felt like they couldn't tell him who the target was anymore after that, which I think is why he hasn't been voting with the majority. So I'm really impressed that she was able to work with Romeo without her plan getting discovered. And although Omar was saying that he was the one who was Survivor confident, I actually felt like that more applied to Lindsay, because Lindsay had an advantage the whole time that could have saved him, and she was so Survivor confident that she wasn't going to need it that she lost her theoretically closest ally. I was going to say idol. Yes, Marianne and Mike are safe in the next one, in the next vote, because they both have idols. So unless they do something stupid like play it for somebody else and misread the situation, then I suppose they'll be in the final four. So now we have to figure out who of Jonathan, Lindsay, and Romeo is going next. I predict that it will be Lindsay, but I'm really enjoying this season and I can't wait to see the finale, and I hope everybody else is having fun too. Bye. Oh, I just remembered, Marianne, nobody knows about her idol still. That's so awesome. I really can't wait to see what happens when that gets played. I'm really excited now. Okay, bye.
Not sharing that you have the idol has become the new high bar.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And Noelle beat Pete in this week.
Oh, her feedback came in like
first.
7 minutes before Pete. My goodness, what's going on there?
I know.
She was excited.
Good job. You know, something else too is that we were confused about when we went back and looked at it, because I said, "Oh no, Mike told Marianne he would play it." He's like, "No, he didn't. He had a condition." And I was like, oh no. He said he. So we went back and looked, and you couldn't rest until I said you were right. So
you were leaving that part out as you're retelling it.
I know, but I was just picking at you. So Stacy was right. Mike said, if your name comes up, I'll play the idol for you.
Yes.
So, and then later in the episode, he said, "Oh no, and I'm playing the idol for me." And I thought, oh yeah, no, he's going to play the idol for himself.
What if Marianne uses that? What if she gets Lindsay and Romeo to tell Mike that they're coming for Marianne, to try to get Mike to play his idol for Marianne? She could get some more points that way.
Maybe.
You think
that would be a good move?
He would be willing to do it?
I don't think he will. I think he's going to play it for himself.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He gets that close, I think he's going to play it for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he go, nah, they don't mean it. They're playing me. I'm not going to buy it. He'll come up with something, I think. So I really think he'll play it for himself.
Need some self-preservation, and if you've had it and kept it,
I think he should play it for himself.
Yeah.
But that's in the final five, so doesn't apply to final four. Nobody's going to have an idol then.
Thanks, Noelle. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. I also think Marianne was hamming it up a little bit through that challenge, Joanne. But I also think that that's just what Marianne does. She's over the top. But what an episode she had. What a plan that... Okay, she might have been hinted to do that, but, I think she did come up with that on her own and pulled it off really well. I wonder, though, last week we had Omar sticking his head above the parapet, and suddenly he was noticed and then got voted out because he made a big move. Marianne has made a big move, so I wonder if she has put a target on her back for next week. Well, for the next vote, I mean. Lindsay really should have played her idol one way or another. I don't think there's any chance that it goes back into the game, and it was running out anyway. She had nothing to lose by using it, except possibly $1 million at the end of the game. And everyone keeps talking about Jonathan being the big challenge threat, but Lindsay has won more than he has. So, and if there's a puzzle involved in it, Jonathan's got no chance either. I said the same thing last week, that I'm happy for anyone to win this season. They've all had their good points, whether it's in challenges or socially or making the moves. except for Romeo. Romeo's just being dragged along, whether he likes it or not. Can't believe we have the finale next week. This season has just flown by. I'm stuck in between wanting the season to go on forever, but, wanting to watch the finale as well. Joanne and Stacey, thank you for everything that you guys do. We really appreciate it. Happy days, everyone. Bye. Oops, sorry, quick question. Do we know if Survivor is ever going to go back to the 40-day seasons, or are we going to be stuck with the 26-day ones? I wonder if the show has said either way what they want to do. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Jill. I haven't seen an official statement, but the scuttlebutt is 43's 26 days. So.
Okay. Hope your husband's doing better, Jill.
Yeah. And like you said, puzzles are Jonathan's kryptonite. So there is a puzzle in Final 5. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, another strong episode and another strong player bites the dust. On to the finale. Here are my other observations. Cinderella's coach became a pumpkin after 12. Lindsay's amulet becomes toast after 6. Okay. Omar went from caterpillar to butterfly, then Marianne pulled his wings off. That took a twist. Okay. Dark twist, Josh. Mike demands honesty and loyalty from his allies, but it's strictly a one-way deal. That appears to be
true,
the case.
Mike.
Yes.
Sorry, accurate.
Mr. he's going to get busted on that. If he makes it to Final 3, they're going to tear him up for that. High in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. McGee and I agree, if that was Jonathan trying not to look upset, you wouldn't like him when he's angry. Survivor 2.0 edits are weird. We don't get to see some players' games until the season's almost done, and most of the featured players are out. I 100% agree. They seem to struggle with an under-the-radar edit. They struggle a lot from that perspective. They haven't cracked the code on that yet. Marianne spun out of control in the challenge, or as her tribe would say, it's Wednesday. That's perfect. King Omar's plan to stay in power, let them eat cake. It didn't work for Louis the 16th either. According to Omar's interviews, Tribal's kumbaya vibe didn't extend to Ponderosa. Indeed. Marianne, I'm left with the impression that was super ugly for Omar.
Do you think that has anything to do with why they're not showing the Ponderosa videos?
Well, given that they won't make a public statement one way or another, we're left to our own
crickets back
own devices. They don't owe us anything, but
no, but she's never not answered us before.
Yeah,
just nothing.
I don't know. I don't know.
So anyway, I'm hoping that they will release them at least after it's over. You think?
No. Nope. We're not getting them.
Please?
Nope. No, we're not getting them.
Bummer.
Marianne's reaction to being a sacrificial lamb or a goat to be herded? Bah. Just a funny guy telling them to step up or go home while they build staircases. Lindsay says the dad joke, plan. Lindsay and Jonathan's concept of purgatory locked in an eternal challenge struggle with each other. The shot in the dark has fired blanks since it was introduced. Indeed.
So true.
I hope it dies. Mike says the game is past calculus. Has it moved into Culpepper math? Oh, indeed. The math challenged Brad Culpepper. Romeo made a fake idol. It goes along with the fake game he's been playing. Ow. Oh, that one cuts. Bunny Marianne has turned into the killer rabbit from Monty Python's Holy Grail. Yeah, she's severing carotid arteries left and right here. Oh. The final challenge looks brutal. Is sending them to a new camp a way to wear them down beforehand?
Yep.
It certainly helps, having to sleep without a shelter. I think Marianne is getting an Erica Winters edit. Is that because she's Canadian? Man, the Canadians have shown up, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
Wow, not getting to play, they were just honing their skills, and they have come on the scene in a huge, huge way. I'm not buying Lindsay's stated reasoning for not protecting Omar. Her idol expires this tribal. Why would the producers re-hide it? We learned 2 quotable phrases this episode. The best, worst experience of your life and survivor confident. Was anyone else waiting to see what a sugar high would do to Marianne? That's true. She should have been bouncing around the island at that point.
They didn't show us anything.
Yeah.
But.
Why? Because I think it probably had a pretty negative effect on them. There's been past seasons when people got sweets late in the game where it did not go well. It was quite the mess. Why did the editors nullify Omar's idol nullifier? I thought Jeff likes to show off his toys. That's a good question. Next time, the finale. Fasten your seatbelts. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Nailed it. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha.
So, Mom, your USB.
I know.
He's gone.
I
got
so
him.
Sad. I can't even talk about it. It's just, I almost put him down as my vote out.
Oh.
But I just didn't want to put it out in the universe. And it still happened. So
I know.
I'm really sad. But what
Me
are you going to do?
I thought he was such a good player. I mean, he is such a good player.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, my question for Joanne and Stacy and other Survivor fans, what is the biggest change you've noticed between the 39-day cycle and the 26-day cycle? Because it's a 2-week difference, and I feel like there's a lot that we're missing, but I've been thinking about it and I'm not sure how to articulate it, but I do feel like we're missing something.
Yeah, something. And I did hear some rumors about season 43 on the interweb. And they've come up with, they're saying that it's going to be 26 days.
That's just
again,
where they're gonna
that
be.
maybe that's going to be, well, it's a cost-saving thing for them, and I don't know, it might always be 26 days now.
Yeah, there's so much that I miss. I feel like that when you have longer cycles between votes, you can do more reward challenges, and then reward challenges, you see like where the players' minds are at in terms of the social game, especially once they merge. Who's gonna pick who for reward, right? Or like those pecking order challenges where it's like, burn the effigy or cut the rope of the person that you want to cut, or something like that.
Yeah, it's a little more revealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of revealing, please bring back bathing suits.
Yeah.
And feed them. Feed them.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with
starve.
Joanne. I don't like to just watch them starve. I don't think that's fun television. We want to watch them play.
Yeah.
They need to eat a little bit in order to play well.
And looking back on the season, just seeing how these edits have evolved between these different players, I'm not sure we're seeing the best of all the players. Marianne did not get a good edit so far. I mean, she's kind of, even us, we were
like, Marianne?
Hello?
Yeah.
She's so clueless. But I think she's a lot more in the know than we're giving her
think
credit
so.
for.
I think we just haven't seen it. Yeah, I know. So, okay, so our predictions for the finale. We think Lindsay is going to get voted out next.
Yes.
And then with the 4 of them, probably Jonathan will win immunity, right? With the 4 left.
Yes, and he will take Marianne.
He'll probably underestimate her and take her instead of Romeo.
And then that leaves Romeo and Mike to make fire. And we know how that's going to go.
Yeah, Mike will obviously win. So we think Marianne's going to win it all.
Yeah,
even though
she's going to be the winner.
Yeah, it hasn't been very obvious that she's going to win all season, but it seems like that might be what's going to happen.
We'll see, though. We'll make our put in our picks, but I'm sad about Omar.
Yeah. Okay. And who really knows? Anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
It's Survivor. We love it.
we are there for it so much. Thanks, you.
Thanks, Jen and Stacy.
Thanks.
What do you think? What feels like the big difference, the drop in those 13 days?
It feels so rushed. You know, it's like I think they get beat down faster because they're having to do challenges every day.
Back to back
they
to
used
back,
to get
right? That's
days
the big
down,
thing.
and they would say they got bored and
3-day cycles.
Yeah, 3-day cycles. This is 2-day cycles. So if
or
they
1
have,
day.
Well, yeah, in some cases. But, if they have a reward challenge, then an immunity challenge, then another, they're having a challenge every day.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who aren't eating, they don't get the downtime. And I think it reflects in their ability to both do the challenges and to be able to do things around camp to get more food. Look at Jonathan. We were watching an extra video, and Jonathan and Mike were sitting. Omar did get up and hold the stick for Marianne and Lindsay, who wanted to do
Limbo.
And so Jonathan's looking at him going, I get dizzy when I stand up.
Right.
What?
Can't even stand up right now.
How
you
are
guys
they
are
doing
Limbo.
this?
Yeah.
And they're over just having fun. And I really liked their attitude of, we're going to enjoy this. Whatever happens, we're going to enjoy this while we're here. This is fun. I like these people, and we're going to have fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that's really the crux of it. There's no recovery time, and that was part of Prope's plan, obviously, and that was why he thought he could get away with giving them less food too, because it's done so much sooner.
See, I feel just the opposite. If you're going to put them through that much physical expenditure
over and
daily,
over. Yeah.
Give them enough food to sustain.
Power back up.
Yes, at least a little bit. Come on. Just rice is not healthy for people.
So what you end up missing out on is the social game doesn't get a chance to cook. It didn't get a chance to simmer and things to build and evolve. It's a classic reality show construct, which is let's time constrain it, and that ramps the difficulty up way higher.
We got to make a decision now. We got to do it. We got to be, you can't talk on it for 3 days before you make a decision. You've got X amount of time, and you need to scramble. So it's just so much more fast paced.
Yeah, the constrained time is huge in that regard, I think. Yeah. So it completely changed the pace of the game. They said that's what they wanted. Okay, well, we don't get a say.
Well, I know.
Like Probe said, tweet about it. I won't read it.
It's like for years, it's like the cutbacks. And it's still being cut back.
Yeah, unfortunately. Here's the other thing to factor in, though. The Omicron variants are going gonzo still around the world. Things are ramping back up in the U.S. It's not, I don't know if it's getting a lot of press or not, but the infection rates are going back up. Even the hospitalizations are kicking back up a little. So they were facing that. I would imagine they're still doing COVID protocols.
Oh, yeah.
So that they were quarantining. I didn't look and see what Fiji's guidelines were, but they could have very likely still been following that. And they said that was part of what led them to reduce it and to do the 2 back-to-back at the reduced 26 days. So
yeah, is that they needed the time on the, because
that the COVID protocols took it away from them.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's got to be more expensive. They're going to have to pay for all the testing that they do. They said that they'd have to test every day and all of this, and Survivor has to pay for that.
Yeah.
And to put them up, that amount of time. So
you think about the amount of antigen tests that are available to a big organization like CBS. I know SEG isn't that big, but I don't know that could have been a big financial burden for them. It's more the time thing and to meet that protocol. It's interesting. So there may be hope. There may still be hope for a return to a longer season and a different flow on the horizon.
Just not next season.
Yeah, let's not fully give up on it yet. Thanks, Jade-n-Christine. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. Jeremiah here with some feedback for this week, and oh my gosh, what another doozy of an episode. Oh my goodness, Almer. Oh, my other favorite to win is already out of the game, and my other favorite to win, Lindsay, is not looking in a good spot already. Oh my goodness. Why didn't she play that idol? Oh my goodness, those reasonings were so weak. And listen, I get it. They're tired, they're fatigued, they're overthinking things. And I really think in the end that's pretty much what happened here. But it was so frustrating to watch, knowing that she could have done so and saved him. Oh man, she is really in a bad spot now. Oh my gosh. Oh. Well, I will admit though, Omar's exit interview, for those people who haven't listened to it yet, I'm sure other people will be bringing this up. The fact that he had the idol nullifier. Oh my goodness, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that definitely probably did put his target much bigger once apparently Jonathan started sharing that news. Jeez, crazy, right? So another exciting episode, but I have to admit, more frustration to watch when you see players making a huge boo-boo like that. But that's the game. That's the game, everyone. So now it definitely looks like Marianne is in a really good spot here. I know she seems to be the favorite from all the people around on the internets I've been noticing, and rightfully so. I mean, she made a big move. We might have another latecomer here, but I'm not completely convinced just yet. Like I said, I do think Lindsay has a shot if she can make it, although I don't think she will at this point. But, you know, I also kind of still like Mike. You know, I do think Mike has a decent shot as well. Now, of course, in this episode, you know, Mike was the first, as you guys brought up, the one to get out Omer. But the thing is, he was also shown as being the person who was too scared to make the big move, and Marianne got all the glory. And so for editing-wise, I do think that Marianne is now being shown as the stronger and smarter player, even though I don't really think she's done a whole lot in this game to deserve a win, but I think in the right circumstances, she could be our winner. So right now, here's my predictions for next week. So difficult. All right, so I do think that we're looking at either Lindsay or Jonathan going out at 5, and then the other person, of course, will follow up with number 4. So I have to kind of figure out which one's going to go first. Will it be Jonathan or Lindsay to go off 5, and who's going to go off 4? Because that means that somebody's going to lose fire. I'm trying to think about who is really good at fire. Who is the best at fire? Is it Mike because he's a firefighter? They haven't really been showing us a lot about who's good at fire, so that will be interesting. Obviously, Romeo's still going to be my number 3. And then, oh my gosh, that means I'm picking between Mike and Marianne to win. So I'll just have to see what everybody else has to say. Maybe I can convince me into being Marianne as a winner. But that's kind of where my mindset is now. And yeah, so a lot of fun. Can't wait to hear what everybody else to say. I am going to be off to I leave for Hawaii on Wednesday night. We made that trip plans before realizing it was finale night, but oh well. Hopefully I can bring in my final Javik predictions for next week. But that's it for me, you guys. You guys take care. And until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Well, that's cool. You're going to be in Hawaii for the finale. That's nice.
Yeah. Well, if he's flying did he say he was flying next Wednesday night? Or
he didn't say
Wednesday.
He just said Wednesday, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. We've watched it in Hawaui. It was...
I don't think we've watched the finale. We've watched Survivor because we would get there and then binge.
Yeah, that's true.
All season.
Well, no, we've been there during the season because we did podcasts from there. Remember we did some interview that you spent 5 hours trying to clean it up because the connection was bad and all of this. We never said we were in Hawaii, and that's why we were struggling so much. But it
wasn't the finale, but we had
to wait around. It was who was the firefighter? It was a firefighter that we were interviewing.
Stick to the plan. Keith Nail.
No, it wasn't
season,
Keith.
Right?
It was his
son. Yeah.
And he kept getting pulled out. He was still on a call, and he kept getting...
That's right.
And they would call and say, because he had to leave again, and we'll try to call you back when he gets back, and we'll call you back. Yeah. So it was like we spent the entire day trying to get the interview.
Yeah.
And but anyway, it was lovely to look out at the ocean while we did that.
Yes, absolutely.
So have a wonderful time. I love Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Wow, so these episodes keep getting better and better. I think what my favorite thing about these last few episodes is the fact that big threats to win are being voted out of the game. I feel like more often than not in Survivor, the players take the path of least resistance and vote out a player who is not a threat rather than going after someone who is an obstacle to them winning the game. But these players have made some amazing moves, and each one of them, I feel, has done something that would give them great talking points in a final tribal council. So on to my thoughts about the episode. I love how Omar wanted to give an evil laugh, but I don't think Omar is capable of an evil laugh. And I wanted to see them blindside Omar, but I really did not think it was going to happen. I hadn't really been taking notice, but I think that is really quite an accomplishment that the Taku 4 made it to the final 6. And I was really impressed with Lindsay's performance in the immunity challenge. She really earned that, and I was real proud of her. However, I do not understand Lindsay not wanting to play her immunity idol to keep Omar safe. If she really needed him as a number and as an ally, then she should have kept him safe. Sure, another idol might have gone out into play, but that idol's time limit was going to expire, in which case another idol could have gone out into play anyway. And that was a critical error on Lindsay's part, I believe. So how do I think this season's going to wrap up? Honestly, my gut tells me that Marianne is going to win this. She's going to have to fight for it, but I really think that she's a contender. I think she's played strong. I think she's played consistent. She's the youngest player out there, so it's going to be difficult for her to take full control of the game. But I think she worked with that limitation very well, and I would not be disappointed to see her take home the million. I already made my picks, and I can't remember whether I have Lindsay going out 5th and Jonathan 4th, or vice versa. But I think the final 3 are going to be Romeo, I think he's a shoo-in, Mike, and Marianne. And I think Mike and Marianne are going to have to duke it out, with Romeo being an easy 3rd place. And while my gut says Marianne is going to win it, I really wouldn't be disappointed if Mike won it. And come to think of it, I wouldn't be disappointed if Jonathan or Lindsay won it either. The only one that I really would be shocked would be if Romeo won, but I really don't think that's going to happen. I'm really interested to hear what other people have to say about what the final 5 will be and who they think is going to win it all. And I can't wait till next week's listener feedback where we get to discuss how it all turned out. That's it for me. Happy finale week, everyone. Enjoy, and till next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen.
I could totally see that.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm just getting more confused by the moment what I'm getting to.
Yeah, that could happen.
Well, I thought, I could totally see that happening. And I thought, but...
Which that are you referring to?
If Lindsay didn't, the final 3 would be Mike, Marianne, and Romeo.
Gotcha.
Instead of Marianne, Lindsay, and Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
My thought is that she'd be afraid to let Mike get there. And because... But I'm thinking
who would be afraid?
Mike...
Marianne would be afraid?
Marianne would be afraid.
Yeah, he does represent a big threat to her, I think. Even though they are the bookend alliance.
Though there may be more people upset with Mike than he thought. But
that's what I was thinking when I was listening to Jen. I was thinking, I wonder how many not Mike votes Marianne would get. Do you know what I mean by that?
High. I think High might do a not Mike.
Yeah.
Can't give it to Mike. I'm sorry, you got me. You got me, but...
So it's not based on Marianne's merit.
But you got me from a lie that was told. You didn't trust me enough.
Yeah, all she had to do is come ask me.
That's from a hurt place.
It's not a rewarding Marianne for an incredible game. It's a not Mike vote.
How many people like Marianne on the jury?
Chanel.
That's what you look at.
Yeah,
how
Chanel.
Many like Mike? How many like Romeo?
Let's do it. Let's try it real quick.
How many like Lindsay?
Chanel and Marianne were kind of outsiders at that point when Chanel was in the game. For that brief time that they were there together.
Well, and that would have bonded Chanel to both Marianne and Romeo. They were all kind of in that.
Potentially, yeah.
Though Romeo...
But Chanel's a player, and Romeo seems like a passenger, so I don't know that she would reward him.
Yeah, but remember he was making that big move and leading the charge after he had his talk with High. And all of a sudden he was like... He thought he was in charge or something.
Yeah.
And they showed him quickly he wasn't.
Right.
But he thought he was for a while. At least for that episode.
I could see Roxroy wanting to vote for Mike because he was all about that alliance. The big guys, tough guys alliance. So, Tori, I think her and Marianne had a really good connection. I could see her going for Marianne. Plus, they don't know that there was a female winner, and there's been this buzz about, it's been so long since there was a female winner. Let's overlook merit or whatever. Let's just...
But I think Drea is probably closer to Marianne, and we know that she's had influence over Roxroy as well. And if they're talking things through.
Oh, you think she could flip rocks from Mike? Yeah, I guess that's possible.
It's possible because I think she had influence on him in the game because they were so tight. And they're going to be talking about reasons for each one. And she may not feel as favorably toward Mike.
I don't know that Hai would want to. Marianne would need to have more on her resume, I think, for Hai to recognize that gameplay above Mike's if he's not bitter towards Mike.
Well, it depends on. I felt this when it happened Wednesday night that Omar's going to end up influencing a lot of the jury because it's like, wow, this and this and this, and I was doing this and I did that, and Marianne just nailed me.
Yeah, there's two aspects to that. Here's 2 data points. Yes, there could be because you get some kind of justification from the person that beat you winning. I'm like that in Battle Royale games all the time. I'll watch someone else that killed me. I'll watch them towards the end of the game, and I'll go, oh, okay, well, that person won. I don't feel so bad now. I got beat by the guy that won, or something to that effect could be going on. Absolutely, he could be recognizing and saying, she got me, therefore she must be really good.
He had such nice things to say about her and her game during his interview as well.
Well, this is the second data point I want to bring in, though. He said that he made an alliance with her day 1, morning 2.
Yes.
They made the Canadian Goose Alliance, that they were going to fly to the end together. And then he said she kind of fell out of the picture because at one point they had to choose between
the merge.
Even before that, they chose between her and Mariah, and he wasn't sure exactly which way to go with that. But I think they chose Marianne because she was more physical, and since there was just the 4 of them, they had bonded so tight.
Okay, yeah.
They decided to take a risk and keep Marianne in, and of course that worked for them. They won. But he said at the merge, Marianne kind of disappeared, and then up until just recently, she'd been constipated, she'd been sleeping a lot, laying down, she wasn't as bubbly and active or anything like that. So it's kind of like she reappeared on day 23.
But then he's like,
and played the game.
She was playing under the radar beautifully.
Yeah. So that's why I said there's 2 data points kind of for and against that mindset. So she wasn't really a factor. She got carried all the way until day 23, and then she made a move, recognize. She took a risk, it paid off.
Well, I don't know how many people felt close to Lindsay. I mean, how many... Drea might have liked her.
Seemed like she connected with a lot of people. And she had a end-to-end strategic and physical game. She was kind of like
awesome throughout.
She's the whole deal.
I think so.
That's a great story. And Mike's game matured and got better and better. It's when he allied with Hai, his game really took off. When he lost Jenny, that was a pivotal moment in his game. And
the bottom line is, who's going to be able to tell their best story? Yeah. That's where it's going to...
Yep.
That's what Omar was saying, and that's usually how it works out.
We're almost doing our wrap-up. We vectored off on Jen.
Let's
come back around. We got one more.
Well, we've pretty much wrapped up now, but
we'll see.
We would like to hear what Paul has to say.
Yeah, let's check in with Paul.
Sorry, Paul.
So that we can get out of here. All right.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here. And, I would have loved to have seen that conversation where Omar got Mike to hand over his idol, because Mike sure seemed frantic to get it back from Omar ASAP, which in turn makes me wonder who Omar will give a winning vote to. Out of our remaining 5 players, I'd say Lindsay in a heartbeat, but I don't think that she's going to make it to the final 3. Me, I suspect that she's going to be forever kicking herself for not letting Omar have and play that idol that she held onto as a keepsake. And yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Romeo for 3rd place, hands down. The poor guy always looks lost and confused, while on the other hand, we see Marianne 3.1 emerge as she decides to show a stunning display of power, which the jury fully acknowledged. I wonder how poor Romeo feels watching her come to life while he just sort of wastes away. He's not a player so much as he is a participant, because he just does what he's told, and never any more than that. Without instructions, he'd just keep bumping to the same wall over and over. Okay then, here are my thoughts. I really think that right now Marianne could have this. If she makes Final 3, she's going to be the feel-good player that the jury could just toss a vote at to help them feel better, having said that she can be too much way back when it was the cool thing to say. But that's not the only reason I'm saying Marianne for the win. I'm also taking into account the looks on the jury's face when Omar asked Marianne if she did that. And Marianne slyly smiled and said, "Yeah, I did." Hi, Andrea and Tori were so excited to see Omar get ousted. And I hate to say that you're wrong about Chanel never smiling, but as Jeff was reading Omar's name all 3 times, well, Chanel had the biggest smile on her face. She was, dare I say it, ecstatic? So yeah, Marianne enters the final 5 with more than ever to possibly lose. My only fear for her is her having to make fire. And I myself would definitely pick her to do that because honestly, like I said, I think she could pretty easily win this right now. So as for positions 4 and 5, I'm saying that they go to Lindsay and Jonathan. That said, I honestly feel that they could both present wonderfully to the jury. We've watched 10 episodes and I've finally learned not to rule out Jonathan. If he makes it to Final 3, I believe he'll get votes. But then again, I think that everyone would, save for Romeo. But that's why Jonathan and Lindsay need to go. Their gameplay was in everyone's face, whereas Mike's, well, his contributions were more hidden. So I guess I'm saying that 5th place is Lindsay, 4th is Jonathan, 3rd is the GOAT, and 2nd is Mike. I just can't shake that feeling that Marianne completely won over the jury during that last tribal. So that's my 2 cents, but I can guarantee that will change tomorrow. Feedback show, I have never needed you more. Everyone enjoy the finale. I'll catch you all again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
I think you're right, Paul.
Paul's saying that Jonathan loses the fire making challenge and goes out at 4. Might want to rethink that one.
Yeah,
I'm not quite seeing that. I'm struggling there with you, Paul.
Yeah. Here's what I'd like to see. Maybe I would like to see Marianne, Mike, and Lindsay duke it out at tribal council.
That would be something.
Romeo go out.
Uh-huh.
I have not wavered on Jonathan going 5th, just because I just don't think and I don't think he can win that, and I think they will finally take the opportunity and pull the trigger on that. Because they don't want him to, like you said, win the next challenge, because then he would be the one to decide what happens, and then nobody else is in control.
And that's the type of challenge that could win, generally, because it's dexterity and endurance.
Yes, and that was my thought. That's why that position I haven't wavered. I am kind of thinking they might not get Mike out because of fire, if he could make fire. Though, what if Mike and Lindsay went head-to-head? I don't know who could make fire. I've not seen either one of them.
You know, in that matchup, in a Mike Lindsay who makes fire, Mike doesn't get credit for making fire. But Lindsay really would get credit if she beat him at fire.
Why?
Well, Mike's a fireman. Of course he can make fire.
He can put out fires. It doesn't mean he can
Exactly. I mean, what's his experience with magnesium and flint?
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing. And I'm not saying that he can or can't. I don't recall any specifics around that, although I suspect it was probably him at his camp because he was the guy getting everything squared away.
Well, would Lindsay say Lindsay wins?
Fire making?
No, the last challenge.
Oh, okay.
Would she send Mike and Marianne, or would she send Romeo and Mike? Who would she send to do fire?
She's smart.
And they should know
she's going to bring Romeo with her
at fire. We don't, but they should.
So even bigger, Mike gets no credit if he beats Marianne at fire because he's Mike the fireman. But if Marianne were to somehow beat Mike at fire, oh my goodness.
She gets the credit just like Lindsay
she wins.
Would. Or Romeo.
She would get even more credit than Lindsay. Because Marianne's a goofball. If goofball Marianne comes in and makes fire and she took out Omar.
Yeah, but we've seen her do it.
Yeah.
We've seen her.
Well, I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm just saying she gets massive more credit for actually winning a fire making challenge than Mike does.
Now I feel sorry for Romeo.
Why?
Because nobody's, has any faith in his game at all, but deserved. That's deserved, but that's like, he's having to listen to.
He put in, 26?
All the social media
25, 26 days. So he'll be there for, let's say he's there for 26 because they take him for the no-vote goat.
Mm-hmm.
So he puts in 26 there. He put in, 10 or 14 in quarantine before that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Something to that extent. And he makes $85,000. I'm not going to feel sorry for somebody who makes more money than me by doing nothing for a little over a month out of the year.
Okay, all right. And it sounds like he's got people around him who are encouraging and supporting.
Well, yeah, if he's an entertainment producer at a local station in L.A., he might be already pulling down serious coin.
Okay, you're right. I don't feel sorry for him.
There was what he contributed to the game.
We digress.
Yeah.
We've talked almost an hour and a half.
Well, this is the time
we
to
didn't talk the whole time.
Yeah, no, we got together with the super fans and we had some. We got to let it marinate. We got a lot of angles to consider here.
They might be tired of hearing this by now. But.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so right this second, I'm leaning Jonathan fifth, then Lindsay, maybe.
It's a dexterity endurance challenge for Final Four.
Lindsay would be good.
And that winner takes Romeo with him. Yeah, Lindsay's got a great chance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also when you don't want Jonathan to still be in the game for, so that seems to further solidify him at 5.
Dang. Okay.
So she could really win it.
I was going to say Lindsay 4th, but then that kind of pulls me back around to maybe Mike at 4th or. Okay, never mind. I can't say. Gotta let it stew a little more.
Yeah. Oh, good discussion. Thanks, everyone. Hey, we had another sad moment in the Survivor family this week. Clay Jordan from Survivor Thailand passed away at 66. Our condolences go out to his family. I can't help but feel like that's going to start to pick up more because Survivor's been around for so long now. Yeah, there's a lot of previous castaways that are in their late 70s and
very young
and
too.
80. Yeah,
Ralph Kaiser was even younger, but
10 years younger than that. Yeah. Yep. Thanks to everybody who took their time to kick in their thoughts and predictions today. We enjoyed it, as you can tell, and we deeply appreciate it. And getting to hear from all of you give us a lot to think about. We also want to thank Kim for her subscription donation. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, Kim. It helps with our operational costs.
And if you're playing in JSFL, do not forget to enter your final 5 order. There's 54 points that are available for a correct final 5 order.
You said 54, but the screen says 55.
Oh, did I say 54?
Yeah.
Well,
Is it
I've
55?
been doing that. Oh, yeah, it's 55.
Okay.
If you have all your safe points available.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that correctly.
We have a blast doing these listener feedback shows. There's one more where you get to comment on the season, make some predictions for 43. Where does this one fit? Be thinking about where do you think 42 fits in the realm of all the previous seasons. Is it in your top half, your bottom half, the top 5, the bottom 5? Where is it for you there? It's definitely a different beast like 41 was, and it seems like we've had more fun with 42 than we did with 41.
Oh, way.
But we could be headed.
This cast is awesome.
Yeah, this is a really good cast. It sounds like from all the predictions that we heard, we could be looking at another surprise winner, kind of from a purple winner. So, yeah, interesting. All those things to think about. So if you do want to join us for that final listener feedback show, you can call or leave a voicemail after the finale and the reunion show at 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio. That's how you get the best quality, and attach it to an email or type it up in an email, and we'll read it into the show on your behalf. That email address, joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in the 3-minute range.
Okay, is there anything else that you need to say? Have you figured out your order?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Still working on it. I'm excited. I can't wait to see how it all plays out in the finale.
Okay, I'm going to go back to my original for the second.
Okay.
And it's Jonathan, Mike, Romeo, Lindsay, Marianne.
Okay, there you have it. So you're putting Marianne has done enough or will do enough to win it at the end.
I think so, looking at the jury.
Okay. Well, there's something to that, too. That might be the shortcut to the answer.
And because I think that people seem to like her an awful lot, so.
I'd have a hard time giving someone that young and that goofy that much money.
Well, that
but then,
shouldn't factor in, though.
Well, why not?
No. She's supposed to be about their gameplay.
Well, where's the gameplay? He's got Omar, but where's the rest?
We know it's not always about that.
Right. Sometimes it's not the other person sitting beside them.
That's true.
That's huge. And sometimes you're just the beneficiary of that because that's how you played the whole season, as long as it's not me.
Hey, worked for Sandra twice.
Yeah.
So. Okay, we'll be back on Wednesday with our finale recap.
Have a good one.